What's up? My name is Dean, and I wanted to share a story with you. Um, so I went into urgent care a couple weeks ago, and I had a little cough. And I know that urgent care was the nearest place that I could go. So I went in, and I said, I've been having this cough for a few months now, and I don't know what it could be. I just wanted to make sure it's not like pneumonia or something. And she said, okay, well, let's take a look. And nothing seemed out of the ordinary. So she said, it could be allergies, but just to be cautious, let's do a chest x-ray just to see what it could be. So we did a chest x-ray, and we got the results back. And it turns out that there was a mass in my chest. So she says, there's a mass in your chest. And I didn't know what that meant. How big? Is it like... Because I've got a lot of mass in my chest. I've got a massive chest. Just kidding. But it could be big, or it could be small. It could be anything. I didn't know. Was I going to die tomorrow? I didn't know. And so she said, okay, well, we're going to send you over to the hospital just to get it checked out and make sure that it's not something bad. And so they sent me over to the hospital, and I was admitted to the hospital. They did a CT scan, which is a 3D scan of my chest, and they did a CT on my chest and my abdomen, and they did an MRI on my head, and they said they didn't find anything in my head, and I was a little surprised. I was hoping to find a brain, but they didn't find anything bad. And but what they did find is that this mass in my chest was a bunch of lymph nodes that were all swollen up, and they were all centered around my heart, and there were also lymph nodes in my abdomen, and they were about the size of a cantaloupe. So, of course, at this point, my doctors are pretty much just going off of fact. And so I'm asking, so is that bad? And they go, well, you have swollen lymph nodes. I said, okay. And they said, well, it probably means cancer, but we don't know. So we're going to keep doing tests. So I get out of the hospital, still not knowing what I have. But probably some kind of lymphoma, a blood cancer. And so I get out of the hospital, and about 2 weeks go by, and still don't know what I have. So finally we do a biopsy where they cut one of the lymph nodes out and they start studying it, and they find that it is Hodgkin's lymphoma. Now, it could have been T-cell lymphoma or B-cell lymphoma or all these horrible kinds of blood cancer. And in those 2 weeks, I didn't know what it could be. And the doctors weren't giving me any hope because they work off of fact, And so they didn't want to give me this false hope in case it was T-cell lymphoma and I only had so many days to live and there was no way to fight it. They only wanted to work off of fact, which I understand, doctors. You got to work off of fact. You can't just give false hope to everybody. And so when I heard that it was Hodgkin's lymphoma, this was actually good news because that's treatable and it's even curable. And so we started going to a bunch of tests, and we found that I'm ready for chemo, and I'm going to start chemo tomorrow. So I wanted to invite you all on this journey with me. I'm going to be posting videos throughout, probably on the days that I have chemo, maybe some on the days that I don't, just for comparison. But through this process, it can be really scary for people, and it can also be really angering. People saying, why? Especially if you believe in God, and through this whole time, I've known that God has got His hand on it. And the moment that I heard I have a mass on my chest, the first thing I did was sing worship songs, and I just knew that throughout this entire thing, I wanted God to be glorified, and I wanted my hope to be found in Him, not the doctors, although they're amazing. I wanted my hope to be in Jesus and the salvation in Jesus Christ. And I wanted that. And so, it's really easy to say, why, God? Why? Why would you give me cancer? But the thing is, I kind of know why. God is loving, and He does things out of love. And for the last 2 years, I've been praying, God, give me wisdom, grow me. I've been praying that He would let my life glorify Him. every prayer that I've had has been, God, take me out of my comfort zone. Let me step where I'm not comfortable. There's a worship song, Oceans, and it says, take me deeper than my feet would ever wander. And I've been praying these songs and saying, I don't care what tomorrow brings. I trust you, God. And just let my life glorify you. And now I have cancer. And the cool thing is that through this really hard time, or what would be a really hard time, all I've seen is that God has been glorified. I've seen miracles that I would not have seen otherwise. And I've seen God glorified. And one of the things that, if I was crying, why, and being angry all over this, there's so many miracles I wouldn't have seen. One of the miracles being that on the first day I was in the hospital, they did some IVs on me. And so they plugged one into one arm and they missed. So they had to take it back out. And they plugged one into the other arm right here, and they missed. So they had to take it back out. So they're like, oh, I don't know where we're going to put your IVs. So they found some obscure place right here on my, right there. You can see the dot kind of next to the freckle. But anyways, and they put the IV in there. And for the rest of my stay, it was completely out of the way. Whereas if it was here, anytime I did something like this, anytime I moved or adjusted, it would be really uncomfortable. But no, they did it in a place where I didn't feel it at all, not once. And so, the first blessing that I saw. And then I started realizing the timing of all this, and that I had just gotten my insurance, and I am in a place financially where I can afford what insurance doesn't cover. And emotionally, I'm in such a great place where I can see this as more of a blessing than anything else. And also physically, I'm just in the best physical shape that I've ever been in. And when better a time to get cancer? And Hodgkin's lymphoma, what better a cancer to get? One that's been cured, one that is curable. So I see that I'm in the perfect time in my life to get cancer, the perfect place to get cancer. I'm right next to City of Hope. I'm real close to USC Medical if need be. And of course, best place. Oh, and I've gotten the best cancer to get. So, look, I just want to say that, cancer is scary. And it's not the experience of everyone to be able to come out of this joyful. And I understand that it can be really hard. And for me, there's been some hard times, some tears and that kind of thing. But honestly, I have seen so many blessings, and I've seen so many good things come out of this, and I'm really excited to see what God does through this, and I'm really excited going forward. And I welcome you to come aboard on this journey. I wanted to share this with you because not everybody gets to hear this from me in person, and I also know that a lot of people want updates. So here's your update, and I'm going to be giving updates, as I have chemo, and just giving you kind of the lowdown on how I'm feeling and some thoughts I have. So with that, I just want to say, you can be praying for me, and just feel free to bring food by my house. I love food, so that's definitely acceptable. All right, thanks for listening.